why can't we just accept the fact that it was just there, and then like there doesn't have to be a creator? I didn't know it just wasn't just there, and we just happened to just grow in a space, and then the space just grew by itself.
In other situations, then you see that there is a cause and effect in other situations. So why would it be that for the creation of something as large as the universe, it would just happen to be there?
I've just accepted it.
Well, I think that, like, for most people, curiosity is an innate part of human nature. So regardless of whether there was, like, proof that God did exist, didn't exist, things like that, the Big Bang happened, like, total proof, humans would still question things. They'd still be looking for more answers, because that's just kind of the way we are.
I'm not asking no questions about God, so I don't look for an answer about the Big Bang. I just accept it, that I'm here, and that's it.
Are you not curious about what started the Big Bang that made you here?
Who said there was a Big Bang?
Well,
You didn't know.
Lots of scientists. Who says I have to believe the scientists? Who says I have to believe there is a God?
Well, you don't have to believe there's a God, but why do you think you're here?
Because my parents brought me to this earth.
And who brought them?
Their parents. I don't want to believe there's another higher being.
Don't you think that's a kind of like...
It's naive, yes, very naive.
Because it's sort of the same as like not wishing to, like going about your life not wishing to know things, and therefore not knowing the truth and just being content with
Blissfully ignorant.
Yeah, sort of ignorant, bliss with the information. Yeah.
M theory, does that change the argument at all that perhaps the operation of M theory brought the universe into being?
M theory, the idea of spontaneous generation.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, in that case, then I don't think that really disproves God, because you can look at the idea of how exactly did these things come to spontaneously generate. You can still put something behind the case that they just happen to exist. There can still be something that caused that to occur.
I think.
Go on.
I think that if there was a God, he would have intended spontaneous creation,
exactly.
rather than just creating a particular universe but ignoring others. So, like, why put humans as the focus? So you just focus on like other creations around.
So if M theory is true, then you think God set up M theory to work it, to do this on his behalf, as it were.
Similar to the anthropic principle, like the complexity of like all random happenings may have been related to some sort of cause, in which case God.
Okay.
I think as well people are more likely to say, oh, well, Stephen Hawking must be right because he's a scientist, and scientists understand these things.
But to me, like, he does have more authority because, like, if you look at the Bible and God, that was written thousands of years ago, like, he's a physicist working now, you know. There is evidence behind, like, what he's saying in the universe, whereas with the Bible, it does rely on faith, and that can never be, like, proved universally. It relies on you as a person.
Scientists have a kind of empirical authority, but the authority of the Bible is something of a higher order than that. So, therefore, it seems more authoritative to certain people who believe in it.
Can instinct and blind faith be a justification? Why can't, if God's, or we've got this sense, why should that not be as hard proof as anything else?
We humans are living on planet Earth, and the sun is meant to be growing bigger every million years. Then the sun is going to devour Earth. So that opposes the anthropic principle, because that's a threat to life. And we've got like black holes, gamma rays, asteroids. So yet again, it's kind of like a middle way. Like, it's not exactly friendly to life. It's harmful as well.
The fact that we're here, the fact that we think it's amazing, well, the fact that we can question it at all is because we are here. Like, I think it just happened by chance, and I kind of agree with the multiverse thing. So I think the fact that we're here isn't that spectacular, because there's probably, I think there's an infinite number of universes and various different sort of forms and different, like, some might have life, some might not, and so I don't think it's that amazing. I think it's just chance.
The belief in multiverses, you could draw like a parallel between the belief in heaven and hell, really, because it's something that can't be seen, that we can't contact, but that people are adamant exists. So really there, science has made quite a link with religion, because it's something that just can't be, that's not tangible in any way, but something that is believed to be true.
I think it can't be doubted, the fact that scientists do need to have faith as well. If you look to the Big Bang, nobody was there when it happened. Yeah, there might be some proof in the form of background radiation or some things that lead them to suggest it, but they're still exercising faith in believing that it happened.
You're more likely to find the answers if you believe in something first, because then you're looking for something to prove or disprove. And sort of with the multiverse thing, it requires belief in something that you can never prove, because we just don't have the technology, we don't have the means to be able to prove or disprove whether there are other universes.
Well, I think that the universe is infinite, and if you've got an infinite number of planets, then there's infinite number of possibilities. And I think humans sometimes, I think we can be a bit like, we think we've got like self-importance that doesn't really exist, like Singer said. And I think in reality there probably are lots of life forms, like some like more intelligent than us and some more simple life forms out.
Maybe there isn't infinite, maybe we just can't comprehend it.
Maybe we just don't want to believe it. Maybe because we think we're so higher being and so powerful that we don't want to believe there's other people smarter than us out there, because then that would make us inferior, and as humans, we don't like that.
If they did exist on their planet, then their scale of evolution, if they did have evolution, or their process of growing and evolving would be so different to ours that I don't know if you could ever call them superior, because the methods in which they'd have to expand and grow would be just on a completely different scale to ours, so you couldn't really put them alongside each other and just compare one as greater than the other. It would both be for different purposes.
I totally agree. I mean, I think the important thing to remember is that to the aliens, we would be the aliens. we're both going to be completely different races. Well, it's likely that we'd be completely different races because we live in completely different environments, completely different planets, survive in different conditions.
And as well, Russell said in the video that it's a possibility that ET could have directed evolution. So sort of like what scientists are starting to come up with now, you could genetically engineer children to be more intelligent or more attractive by our standards. But that was limited for the moment by our sense of morality. We feel that it's wrong on the whole. Most scientists and most people believe that it is wrong.
Do you think ET will be religious?
If they have our level of intelligence, then I believe that at least some of the aliens will have a religion. Because if they have the sort of idea of conscience and guilt and things, then there's someone that they should surely feel guilt towards. So they might come to the same conclusion that we do, that there's a God, and whether that's right or not is kind of irrelevant. Some of the population will still have that belief.
Say if the aliens went and asked a question, is there a God? They went and found out, and there isn't a God, and then they want to spread that whole message across the universe, and then they came to Earth. Do you think people would accept the fact that there is no God?
Like, I don't believe in God, but I can accept that there'll be nothing to ever stop people believing in God.
Religious believers refuse to accept that anything will ever prove their belief false. If somebody turned around to them, like your example with the aliens, and said, there is no God, this is why, then he reckons there will be still people that said, no, I believe in God, because he argues there is nothing that can ever convince a religious believer that there is no God, therefore religion is meaningless.